Well, good morning. The time's come to harvest these peppers, and the leaves are starting to fall now, and there's a little bit of yellowing going on, and it tells me that this is probably the best time to get the crop in. If you leave it too much longer and the cold weather starts to set in, you start to get a bit of rot on some of the fruit, and then you can start to lose some. And it's not to say that they won't keep growing, and if we have a good September, then we might get more fruit. And there's certainly still some flowers on here and some fruit forming, but I think it's time to take what exists on these plants, and we'll eat some of them and get some of them in the freezer. So let's see what we can get into this harvesting pot. And we've got different varieties on here, and we're going to be taking them all. But as you can see, they're mainly green, and they will turn red in time, but the change in flavour is negligible, so I tend to harvest them when they're green and nice and firm. Well, that was a really good crop. I'll show you it in just a moment, but you can see there's plenty of small fruits still growing on these. I've taken just the larger fruits, and hopefully they'll come on and we'll have another crop. This green variety has been absolutely fantastic. There's another big one there which I'll take, but there's plenty of fruit, and the remaining growth that's left in these plants hopefully will go into those fruit that I've left, and that'll mean that we get a concentration of effort into making these slightly larger. These smaller plants, this lower growing habit, I'm not going to grow these again next time. The fruit are really small, the flavour's not substantially different, and therefore I can't see any benefit in these which are far less productive. So it's going to be more of the same, these larger sweet peppers, and I'll go back to the seed, make sure I know which one it is that I want to grow. But King of the North, really successful. And I've got the label in this one. This is the Dedo de Mocha, and that has been absolutely fantastic. These small peppers sauteed are just delightful, so definitely going to grow more of those. I believe this is King of the North. Yep, King of the North. So yeah, they're the two prevailing varieties. This more yellow variety has also been very prolific. I haven't got a label in that at the moment. Oh, yes I have. What have we got here? So this is the Semero early sweet pepper. Definitely will be growing that again. So I think I've selected 3 peppers from this year's, and I'll probably try one more different one next year, but I'm definitely going to grow those again. And that cropping off of these few plants, you'd be surprised. And this is going to be eaten through the winter months, frozen and reheated, and they'll be just fantastic. So I've decided to harvest these now. We've got really good size on these onions, and I don't want them to come to any harm. They're starting to go over now, lean over, and 1 or 2 have got some softness, so I'm going to get them out while they're in a good place. I don't think I'm going to be able to dry them in the sunshine, because there just isn't enough sunshine around at the moment. So these are probably going to go into the shed, and a bit like the garlic, sit there and dry out over the coming couple of weeks. What a beautiful onion. Clean that up, take off these excess leaves, and we'll leave it to dry out. I'm going to keep this bed covered for no other reason than it'll get used as a litter tray by all the neighbourhood cats. And until the weather gets cold, I'll keep this covered, and of course I'll put compost over this so that it regenerates for next year. But in the meantime, just don't want to get cats in the bed, so just going to sit here dormant until I get to the point where I'm covering the beds with that compost generated from horse manure. So there we are. These hopefully will be the keepers for the coming months. And 2, 4, 6, 8 beautiful onions there. Really pleased with those. All similar size. A whole bunch of medium-sized ones there, and a few large banana shallots which are left. And we had a bit of white rot on those, but those seem to be okay, so we'll try and dry those and see how they keep. And then these smaller ones, a few of them a bit knocked, we'll take home and use straight away. So they'll go into the shed now, and hopefully the drying process will begin. So there we are, into the shed, and hopefully they'll dry out. We'll keep an eye on those each day, just make sure there's no mold sets in, and maybe turn them a couple of times and see how they get on with their drying process. And hopefully that'll keep us going well into the winter months. Well, it's time for me to mow this lawn again, and the colder nights are certainly having an effect on foliage, and this grass is slowing down. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, if I cut it now and get it under control, I won't have to mow it too many times before the season's out. But I'm going to do a quick harvest before I get going. 5 beetroot, 1 portion of runner beans, some potatoes, and 4 sticks of rhubarb. I'll put it on the time lapse. Well, this is going to be quite interesting because I'm only taking 5 beetroot, but it's a good time to sample these that I've grown outside. I know the ones that I grew inside were really successful. I'm really hopeful that these have got to a reasonable size. And I've got 3 varieties in here, and we'll take a few of each and just see how they've come along. Oh, they're a nice size. This is Boltardi, I think. Yeah, beautiful. And these are in clusters, so I'm going to take a couple, much smaller, and I'll leave a single one, and that might be able to grow on a little bit further. Oh, that's a good one. And into this, which is, I think, Zero, or Solo, sorry, which is a pale beetroot, and they really are delicious. That's 4. And we've got some 2s here. Yeah, they're really fabulous, and that'll make a good crop of beetroot for beetroot chutney later on. So there we have it, a nice crop of potatoes from those 2 bins. Not quite so many, but some really nice sized ones, and all in excellent condition. And we'll save this here compost for my recycling of compost regime. And we're up to about 6 or 7 of these pots now, so I'll soon be finding a home for them. And what I'm thinking of doing is bringing 1 or 2 of the compost bins onto this platform when I've got these potatoes out. I'll probably clear out all this green foliage, and then I can keep the really good compost that needs feeding and recycling for next year over here, out of the way of everything else. So that's the plan. I've said it for a while, but this is my gym. The grass is really moist and it makes it pretty hard work, I can tell you. But one tip I've got is take the top off first, let it dry a little bit, and then go over again slightly lower. It takes the effort out of it and prevents you getting those muddy patches. So all that grass is going in the compost and I get on and do the back. Now I've been strimming, but as I walk around the polytunnel I notice these, and these are a real polytunnel enemy. So I'm going to have all of these out of the way. Really strong thorns that with a wind just break the polythene, tear it so easily. And you turn it back in the summer and these grow like mad. So I'm going to get them back under control. Look at that. There we are. That should protect the polytunnel for a bit longer. Taking that as well. I'll let this greenery, this foliage die back, and then this area is going to need a good clearing out. I do hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, click the subscribe button, click the like button, and if you want updates from me each time I upload a video, click the bell and select all. I do hope you have a great day. Diolch yn fawr.